All right, well, we're here at Agile 2008, and I'm talking with Jeff Sage, consultant with EDS, and it seems like the show is doing really well this year. There's a lot more people involved. I think we're seeing the adoption of Agile really kind of going through the roof. You know, how do you see, from your experience, how have you seen, the pace of Agile adoption over the last couple of years? I think it's really kind of picked up. I don't know what you've experienced.
Yeah, dramatically, Patrick. I'd say since over the last 2 to 3 years, the growth of it's been exponential, both in the interest from our clients as well as the number of suppliers and providers in this space. So it's blossoming across the market.
How do you see over the next year or so, do you see it kind of continuing on this kind of same growth?
Next 3 to 5 years. Yeah. This is a hot topic. We're starting to hear more from our clients. We're starting to see a more diverse supplier and tools landscape. And so I think over the next 3 to 5 years, this is just going to continue to grow. Right. Definitely in the next year, we can see some of the foundations being laid now for really dramatic growth across the enterprise. Mm-hmm. I think that's where some work is still to be done.
Yeah, definitely. People have talked about Agile crossing the chasm, but I think in the enterprise organizations, you're seeing a little bit of slower adoption, maybe people not jumping in with both feet. How do you see those discussions in some of your customers? How are they really moving along in enterprise types of companies?
Sure. Well, the market momentum's really picked up to the point now where big enterprises are hearing enough about this from as many different directions as they are to really put on the radar. So it's becoming from a small agenda item to what are we going to do? What's our point of view going to be on Agile? Is it going to be a holistic transformation approach? Are we just going to dip our toe in, maybe look at a tool, maybe work with a partner? Mm-hmm. And so big companies now are starting to put interest, focus, and investment around what their strategy is going to be.
Right. And some of your clients you talk to, how's the role of management really playing out? Are they helping the adoption practice, or hindering it, or?
Any place you see a strong Agile transformation underway, you have strong leadership and management support. Almost every case. I mean, I don't see any persistent cases of Agile transformation, especially in the enterprise, that doesn't have persistent, strong leadership that's vocally behind it, that's contributive to it, and that's ensuring that it's fostered throughout the organization.
Sure. I think in the past we saw a lot of grassroots efforts where the development teams were all behind it and management wasn't quite sure, but I think it's really coming along as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right on. Most of the time we would see this would start in one project. They wanted to pilot some of these Agile techniques or a few of the techniques. And now it's starting to be more of a leadership and management dialogue where they're saying, let's bring in the whole variety of suppliers and providers in this space and figure out what we can do on a holistic scale. Sure, we'll still start small, but we're going to look at the whole enterprise as a potential option.
Right. Well, some of the suppliers, some of the vendors, how do you think the vendors and the consultants can really kind of help push the whole process through to the enterprise?
This is a dynamic market right now. I liken it to what content management was in 1999. If you recall the very dynamic content management space, 98, 99, 2000, the Agile management tools is much like that today in my mind from what I've seen in similarities. So things are growing quickly. Integration and automation are becoming really the core topics around it. So instead of just an Agile management suite or a point solution here and there, which is pretty much where a lot of the industry is now, we're rapidly, and the tooling providers are driving us this way, are rapidly moving to a holistic view of automation and integration. And unlike some of our past experiences with point solutions, I think it's a great story. I think we've got a lot of traction there. And you can tell from the show, the tooling providers are right there on the cusp. They're listening to feedback. It's much more collaborative. It's not going to be the long cycle business of tooling provisioning that we saw with prior tools. Right. This is going to be a more built right from the ground up collaborative type tooling solution.
Mm-hmm. So in your organizations or in your customers, how are you really approaching Agile? Or how deep into it are you getting, your company and you in particular?
Yeah, EDS really views Agile as a strategic opportunity. And so what we're doing is essentially looking at those opportunities with our customers where we can get good collaboration. Given the nature of it, contracting mechanisms, some of the commercial aspects of it can be a real hindrance or an enabler. So we need the client on board with us. And in those pockets where we have the client on board, we've been very successful in starting to transform the organization, if you will, towards a more of an Agile approach.